Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. We'll get started here in about a minute. If you are watching live, please say hello in the comments so I know that you are here. If you're watching the replay, drop a replay. I know a bunch of people have been watching the replays. I see the comments come in after we post these videos. So let me know that you are here. Today, we are diving into the Partners in Education Advantage. This is such a huge missing puzzle piece for so many schools out there, and I'm really excited to unpack the power of Partners in Education and share with you how you can develop this going into 2025. My mission is to present the one marketing strategy that keeps on giving. And even though that I am somebody that absolutely loves the digital realm and loves digital marketing, this marketing strategy of becoming partners in education played a huge role in the success of our evening programs. And when we offered after school and summer camp, those programs as well. Good morning, Miss Jilly. Good morning, Miss Everson. Good morning, Miss Ross. Nice to see you. We are going to talk about the impact that a Partners in Education relationship has, how you can build it, and kind of option one and option two, which are what I would consider the prime options that you should be considering when you develop this partnership in education. Good morning, Miss Pickett. Nice to see you. And for those of you that are watching, I'd love to know, yes or no, do you have a partner in education relationship with a local elementary school in your area? Have you tried to develop that? If maybe you're not even sure what it is, no worries. We're going to unpack that. But I'd love to know if this is something that you have tried to leverage. Let me know in the comments. Do you have partners in education? Ms. Pickett, no. Well, hopefully after today's session, you will see just the importance of this. Ms. Ross, not yet. Have school finally open to it. Awesome. So, two really great quotes just around kind of networking and relationship. And one thing that we always talk about in Maya is your network determines your net worth. And I just think it is so, so true. Collaboration allows us to know more than we are capable of knowing by ourselves. And the richest people in the world look for and build networks. And that's really what this is about. It's about building a network that will ultimately continue to provide you a source of new enrollments in your school. So in the agency world, so I own GrowPro Agency. I am in a mastermind group called Seven Figure Agency, and it's a group with about 350 agencies all over the world that offer digital marketing services. And one of the lessons, the very first lessons that they taught us, is they said you are one JV, which stands for joint venture, one joint venture partnership away from a seven-figure agency. And I found that to be true since the inception of GrowPro. One of the reasons why we have become as successful as we are is because of those joint venture partnerships. And it's the same thing in your martial arts school. And one of the reasons why Gracie Pack, my academy, was so successful was, yes, we did digital marketing, but we also focused on internal marketing and external marketing. And that's really where the partnership in education, you'll notice I'll put PIE, that stands for Partnership in Education. It was just such a big game changer for us. So I'm saying you are one partnership in education relationship away from a $500,000 school. And the $500,000 school was really kind of the first major milestone that I had attempted when I opened my school. And that's around almost like $43,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue in your school, or total gross revenue in your school. And one of the biggest mistakes, which, we've talked about in previous trainings, is only focusing on one marketing strategy. And typically when a school is first getting started, the main one that they focus on is word of mouth. And you can leverage things like referral programs and referral contests to help you improve word of mouth, but it shouldn't be the only marketing strategy. And what I want to say is that the partnership in education relationship is something that it's going to take some time, it's going to take some effort, but it doesn't take a whole lot of budgeting dollars. So I always say in our business, we have to choose. Do we want to spend our time, our energy, and our effort, or do we want to spend our money? And you should be doing both. But if you don't have the money for things like Facebook ads and Google ads, then you need to lean heavier in the internal and external marketing. So I truly do believe that you are one partnership in education relationship away from having that $500,000 school. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they are trying to build relationships in general, but especially with the partners in education, it's they go into the school or walk into the conversation and they don't really figure out how they can help the school. And Jim Rohn always says, everybody is tuned into WIIFM. What's in it for me? And yes, there is a huge payoff for you as the school owner, but you can't go into the conversation thinking that way. You have to go in the conversation thinking about how can you give back, right? Most martial arts schools have elementary schools surrounding their area. And the elementary schools are really where you would want to put your focus. That's where we did. Could you do middle school and high school? Sure. But I think our target market is more geared towards the elementary schools. And you just have to remember, it's not what you can get, it's what you can give. So in order to start building this relationship, the first step is you got to do some recon work. And all I did is I just went on Google and I looked up our school district's website to figure out the schools that were closest to us. And if you've been in your, neighborhood for a while, you know where they are. But if you're just not sure, each school district has a website that will have a list of all of the schools, and you can look it up by zip code to see which ones are closest to you. So we focused on the schools that, were within about a 2-mile radius, and we were fortunate that there were quite a few. And all I did is I went to their website. Once I found the schools that were in our area, I went to their website and I looked on the website to find the key players. And typically, the best person of contact is either going to be the vice principal or the guidance counselor. So I would go on the website and I'd look up that information. And then I'd also go and check their calendar for special event dates, because a lot of schools on their website, they will put the dates for things like spring flings and fall festivals and when they're going to have meet the teacher events and things like that. So you just need to do a little recon work to figure out what schools are closest to you, visit their website, and find those key players. That's kind of the first step in building that relationship. And then the second step in building the relationship is an introduction. You need to introduce yourself. And we've done this one of two ways. We've done it via email, because oftentimes on the website where the key players are, their email address, the guidance counselor's email address, the vice principal's email address is on the website. So we've done outreach via email, and we've also done outreach by just going to the school. And if you are going to go to the school, don't show up in your uniform. This is a big mistake that people make. You can dress business casual, but all we're trying to do is get a conversation around this, which is we have a lot of students in common, and we just want to know who can we talk to about helping out, whether that's donating our time, supplies, sponsoring teacher meetings, or donating money. So we are going into the conversation with how can we help you? And that is going to be a key takeaway. It's not about walking into a school with a stack of flyers and saying, hey, we have a martial arts program. We help kids develop confidence, discipline, and respect. We're doing this event. Will you pass these out? Because that's more beneficial for you than it is for them. And when you come from a place of giving, this is going to be the best way to ultimately build that relationship. Um, when my wife and I were operating the schools, this was really her bread and butter and what she focused on. And she had success going the email route, and she also had success going into the school and showing up and asking how we could help them. Now, you want to make sure that you are prepared when you go in. The other thing is you don't want to go in during drop off times where it's really, really hectic for them. So we would typically wait a little bit after the drop off times once everything was settled in, and would go into the office, and we would always bring a packet or a brochure that basically showcases what we can do for them. Ms. Pickett says, I love this. I prepared to say I know our schools don't allow flyers to go home anymore, but this is so fantastic. Yeah. So you're actually just coming to the table with how can we help you? And we utilized Maya Edge, which is an online resource that kind of provides you with any type of graphics that you would need to market your school. And they had these brochures inside that we were able to customize and edit and print out. This is just kind of an example of what that looks like. And it's got the partners in education. We put our school name, and it showcases the different things that we can do for them, whether that's, donating school supplies, whether that's bringing a breakfast for the staff, whether that's being a bus ramp volunteer or a career day volunteer. Or maybe you want to provide honor roll certificates for anybody that makes the honor roll, or being a PE teacher for the day. And then we also offered our motivational speeches and gave examples of what those different speeches could look like, such as we could do a Rise Above workshop, a safety seminar, 20 ways to focus, focus for better grades, goal setting for better grades. And when you approach it in this fashion of how can we help you, it's not going to work 100% of the time, because you might have gatekeepers you're going to need to get through. You might have certain guidance counselors or vice principals that are just a little bit harder to build the relationship with. But this was the route that we went in order to build those relationships. How can we help you? And as we go into the new year, some of these, might not be as relevant to the school as if we were starting in the beginning of the school year. One of the things that we would do is right towards the end of summer, we would start hosting a back to school supply drive. And we would create these cute little boxes that looked like school buses, and we would have a contest inside of our school for our students to donate school supplies. And what we would do is we took those school supplies to the partner in education right before school opened. And I'll never forget the look on, the staff members' faces when we were showing up with literally, boxes and boxes of school supplies to help them, right? We have to give before we can get. And that kind of back to school season is a great time for school supplies. Well, we're going into the new year. It's not to say it wouldn't work in the new year, but that's kind of the ideal time to do that. And these are just the different kind of menu options that we would present to them. Okay. Mr. Ponce, you can invite them to a free community event. Yes, and we're about to touch on that in 1 second, sir. Getting a little ahead of me. But the concept, guys, the underlying principle is showing up and showcasing how you can help the school. And like I said, we always came prepared with these brochures in hand, so that they could see the exact menu of options of how we could help them. So there are two routes that we went that we found a lot of success with. The first one was PE teacher for the day, and the second one was setting up either 2 or 4 week courses or a club inside of the school. So this is a picture of me and my son Nate. And this was one of the days that we did PE teacher for the day. And this is a really, really fun way to get in front of a large number of students. We had multiple grade levels that would come in. So we'd have the first grade level come in, and then the second grade, third grade. And we were able to do these kind of like back to back to back. So by the end of the day, we had an opportunity to get in front of a lot of students in the school. And there is a very structured way of doing PE teacher for the day that really gets the buy-in from the teachers, but also gets the buy-in from the students. And the ultimate goal is to invite them back to your school, such as with offering a free community event, such as a focus seminar. So depending on the relationship you have with the school and what they do or don't allow, like Miss Pickett said, they don't allow flyers to go home anymore. There are some strategic ways that you can build into your PE teacher for the day presentation to make sure the kids let their parents know what is going on. But we had a lot of success with PE teacher for the day. Miss Jilly says, "Oh, look how little Nate is." Yes, we homeschooled Nate, and he homeschooled at the martial arts school at Gracie Pack. So anytime we had these events, he was my right hand and would come with me. The second option that we found a lot of success with was with these 2 and 4 week courses. And we actually were invited to do a club at the school. And it was the first time in this particular school, which that one was called Bellamy, that they actually invited somebody that was not a teacher to host a club. And the reason why I bring that up is I just want to showcase how much trust that we had built with them because of this partnership, that they invited me to teach what we called a ninja club. And here's a picture of all of the students that participated in the ninja club. There was a $25 cost, but what we did is we took that money and we donated it right back to the school. And these are just two of many, many examples of how we were able to successfully build a partnership in education and develop that relationship. Some of the other things that we've done, lots of schools have a PTA and a way that you can sponsor the PTA. I'll never forget the first time I wrote a check. It was for $100, and not to discredit $100, but it's really not a ton of money. And when I had asked, is there any way that we can help? They said that they had a daddy-daughter dance that was coming up that they were hosting at the school, and they really didn't have a lot of funds to make it really great. So they asked if we would donate to that daddy-daughter dance so that they could purchase supplies. And I was like, absolutely. Like, how much do you need? And they were like, well, do you think you could swing like $100? And I'm thinking like they were going to be asking for a lot more, and like $100, of course I can. And, oftentimes schools will actually have sponsorships that are broken down based on the dollar amount, where you can, get a banner in the car rider line. We've done that at numerous elementary schools. So if you've ever had to sit in a car rider line, you know how long and painful they can be, but you can actually get your marketing where they put it on the fence, with your information on a banner in the car rider line. There's options for getting your logo on t-shirts for things like walkathons. We were even able to get our rat cards located in the front office. And it's all because of us donating and giving back to the school. The probably most successful, partner in education marketing campaign we did was this Ninja Club. And like I said earlier, we donated the money back to the school. I would go to the school each Wednesday, Nate and I, and we teach jujitsu, and they had us inside of the cafeteria the first session, and they didn't have mats or anything. So we really had to kind of think outside of the box. Eventually, we were able to move into a carpeted area, which made some of the things a little bit easier. But even as a jujitsu school, in a elementary school that had 0 mats, we were able to make this work. And what we did is we invited all of the students to earn their stripe. So they earned their belt during the Ninja Club, but in order to earn their stripe, they had to come to a graduation ceremony. And we had about 24 students that participated in it and ended up enrolling 16 of those 24 that came to our school. So the ultimate goal, whether you're doing that PE teacher for the day, or you're doing a motivational speech, or you're doing something like a 2-week or 4-week course, and the 2-week or 4-week course is where you would go to the school for 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and it could be, once a week or twice a week. And this is something that the families pay for, but you donate that money back to the school and then invite them to a graduation to your school. And this is where you would be able to do the mass enrollment system that Maya teaches, which is basically a mass pitch to everybody that comes into the school with a really, really great offer. Our offer has always been $50 for anybody in the family to get started, and it included a uniform. So normally it would be $199 down, and you'd also have to purchase the uniform. So that was a really great deal. And then because there was a partnership with the school, we would offer a slight discount on our monthly payments. So for us at that time, I think we were charging about $145 a month. We offered it to them at $135. So because we had that partnership in education relationship with the school, we really tried to craft a great offer to get them to say yes. Mr. Silva, did you do the Ninja Club as an after-school program, or was it during the school hours? It took place right after school. So school got out at 2:15, and it was a 30-minute club, 2:15 to 2:45. Great question. So typically the 2 and 4 week courses are going to happen after school, but the things like the PE teacher for the day would happen during school. I told you earlier, we've had a lot of success with doing supply drive. One year we actually made supply cakes. My wife found this idea on Pinterest, and we went and bought a bunch of supplies and turned them into what looked like a big cake. And we took the cakes to the school and donated those supplies. We've also donated teacher breakfasts. So oftentimes, the teachers are coming into the school before school starts. They have lots of meetings that they have to go to. They're preparing their classrooms, and we would donate those teacher breakfasts as well. So these are some of the areas that we've had a lot of success in giving back to the schools. Now, I hear this a lot. Cris, we've tried. We can't get in. And, it reminds me of 2 in particular people, Mr. Josh Arsamont, who is a Maya consultant. I remember him telling a story of trying to get into a school, and it took like over 10 years for him to get into this one school, but he kept trying and he kept giving. And eventually he was able to get into that school. Miss Lisa Susko has a very similar story as well, where she was trying and she was trying. And it wasn't all of the schools, it was just one in particular, and saying that she couldn't get in. Now, if that is factual, where there is just absolutely no way, maybe this county had, a bad experience with some, partnership in the past, and they just say no, well, you have other options, right? You have charter schools, you have magnet schools, there are daycares, there are churches. And it's a different location, but it's the same principles and the same concepts, right? How can we give back to them? And just because it's a charter school or a magnet school or a daycare or a church, like that doesn't mean it's not going to work. So if you are in a specific county or district where there is just absolutely no way to get in, these concepts will still work. And one of the things that, we have found is the schools that really only focus on 1 or 2 marketing strategies, when there's a bad month and that particular marketing strategy isn't working, they end up just having a bad month. And that's why it's so important that you're pulling from the internal marketing strategies, from the external marketing strategies, and the digital strategies. And it's not trying to have one marketing strategy that can sign up 10 students or 20 students. It's about having multiple that can sign up, 2 students with referral programs, 5 students with partners in education, 7 students with digital marketing. And when you have those different lines out in the ocean, if one of those lines just don't work as well that month, you're not going to just end up having a bad month because you have these other strategies in place. And this is something that, like I said, it's, I think everybody's looking for this like magic silver bullet in terms of growing their schools. Guys, there is no magic silver bullet. I mean, it's hard work and it's time. But this can really be a marathon concept that continues to pour back into your school, because once you develop that relationship, you have to keep up with it. It's not just you're, donating once. The next school year, you're going back to the table. Like, how can we help you even more? But these will continue to pay off year after year after year. And if you think about, what's the one place that houses hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of our ideal market, if you offer, kids programs, it is the elementary school. Ms. Ross says, our intent to promote forms is bridge the gap and open doors at schools. Yeah, I love that. So I'm not exactly sure what your intent to promote form looks like, but in our intent to promote form, and I know for a lot of other schools, they require signatures from the teacher. What we did is we had the parents sign off that everything was going well at school and everything was going well at home. But if you have an intent to promote form that involves getting the teacher to sign off, that does help really bridge the gap and is a great idea. So your action step, here we are, we're a couple of weeks away from the new year, is I want you to make a list of the schools that you want to develop a relationship with going into 2025. And if you already have a relationship, then I want you to think about, especially because of the break, either sending something before the kids break, which, I think most kids, this is going to be their last week of school. So sending something to the school before the end of the week, or when they get back. So if you already have those established relationships, then your action step is to reach out and try and strengthen that relationship as we go into the new year. If you don't have a partnership in education, then make a list of the schools you want to develop a relationship with going into 2025 and put time on the calendar where you're either going to send those emails out or you're going to go to the school and introduce yourself and present your partnership in education. So my giveaway for you is I did a super in-depth training with Mr. Ernie Polesko. Ernie Polesko is, he works for Maya as one of our customer service representatives. And he actually used to own a school. He's a martial artist. He used to own a school, and Partners in Education is really one of his areas and specialties. And we dive a lot deeper into this topic. So if this is something, I know Miss Pickett, you're just getting started and this is something you want to dive into, I will drop this video training that kind of, we got like a 30,000 view up because this is a short training, but this will give you kind of those nitty gritty details. And we also do a Q&A with Mr. Polesko at the end, and he is just a wealth of knowledge in terms of partners in education. So even somebody that, has been a huge fan of, digital marketing, that shouldn't be the only marketing strategy. And I think what ends up happening is, we're like, okay, well, I know I'm supposed to be having multiple lines out in the ocean. And well, this month we're doing Facebook ads and we're doing Google ads, but that's not really proactive. It's kind of just like a recurring thing that you're going to be doing every single month. You need to be looking at what are the proactive revenue generating activities that we can do in our school. And, like I said, we want to make sure we have those multiple lines out in the ocean. And this Partners in Education is, if you can land one of these, this is going to be one of your strongest marketing plays. But it does take time, it does take energy, and it does take effort. But our tagline at my school, Gracie Pack, is hard work pays off. And this certainly will pay off. So I'll drop the link to this training if you want to dive in a little bit deeper and learn more about how to solidify Partners in Education going into the new year. All right, guys, that is our training for the day. I appreciate everybody showing up live, watching the replays. Hope you're finding value in these trainings, and I hope you make it a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.